Morning. How's everyone doing? It's very bright today. It was very gloomy and rainy yesterday, and it's very bright today. Makes you wonder. Morning. Oh my goodness, I'm making a mess. Slept well, they should be not missing my sleep. What's that? Oh. Wait a second, why are you... There we go. Everybody dying of exhaustion. Oh my goodness, why? Why are you dying of exhaustion? Dying of exhaustion. I'm literally exhausted every second of every day. You should probably get that checked out. I'm not being sarcastic. I'm being serious. I just remind you to need my collagen. Yes. I have an what's that? I don't think I know what that is. You've been getting it checked out for like 5 years, and what do they say? What do they say? They say nothing. I'm hurt but alive, so that's hurt. Why are you hurt? What happened? Why is everybody hurt today? I thought I was anemic, so that's why. Yeah, me too. Yeah, maybe you're anemic, Shelly. I have inflammation, that's all. From what? Not anemic, iron's fine, thyroid's fine. Suspicious. It's not filled with liver and onions, left my arm way up. Yuck. Get over here around the same time. I think I can stand by. Correct head punches right now. Seriously. Seriously. I fell yesterday, banged up my knee really bad, and I have a chest contusion. Oh no. Oh my god, what kind of fell? That's not good. Texting my GP who I don't want to even tell us. What do your parents say, Shelly? Jeez, this is a mess. Everyone's a mess today. What's going on? Can't stick around for story time. Gotta prep for anniversary. Aw, 20 years. Well, happy anniversary. That's an amazing amount of time. Especially at this age. I found something my husband was supposed to bring outside. Oh, God. Mom just thinks it's chronic fatigue. Oh, God. It's only Tuesday. How could it not be a fun week already? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. This is a mess. Outrageous. Such outrage. Such outrage. We're all falling apart. We call it a day and try to get it wrong. No, I got work to do today. I can't call it a day. I wish I could. You too, Nikki. I have so much to do, but I'm so sleepy. Yeah. Can you tell my boss I need the day off? Seriously, tell someone. Hey, Dawn. Imagine that were just a thing. Do any of you guys follow Madeline Pendleton? That is a thing at her company. I read her book. It's good. He's 4, so she go. That's funny. You should apply there, Jen. I don't know how, but you know. All right. I mean, probability is a... That's true, Shelley. I do not get unlimited PTO. Not even close. 0 PTO. No PTO. It's a medication load to help to fatigue, pain, inflammation. Oh, that's interesting. All right. Are we ready for whatever's next? Hey, Des. Your coffee is on the counter.
Thank you, Dad.
You're welcome. Enjoy it in good health.
Which character's voice is that?
It's not one. I made it up.
It's kind of like your Robin Hood.
It is kind of like Robin Hood. He came back in the last chapter. You missed it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How's he doing?
He's okay.
He's just okay?
Yeah, just okay.
What happened to my special boy?
Well, he's in hiding.
Oh no, why?
Well, they're all in hiding.
Robin Hood doesn't. Oh, that's all he doesn't hide.
What?
I was gonna say Robin Hood doesn't hide. I was like, literally. Oh wait, that's literally all he does.
That's all he does. Yes, he does hide.
That's his main thing.
That's his whole gig. Yes, time zones are weird. So we are on chapter 18. It is called St. Andrew's Children's Hospital.
Oh.
Yeah. I think we all know what's going on over there.
Experimentation on small children.
No. How's your coffee?
Fantastic, thank you.
Fantastic. All right. St. Andrew's Children's Hospital. It took 5 trips in each of Charlotte and Bob's cars to transport the characters from Starboardia to St. Andrew's Hospital. They covered each pirate and sailor in scrubs and medical masks and quickly escorted them through the hospital to the empty commissary in the brand new wing. It would have been simpler if the Dalai Lama crew weren't such a curious bunch. They pocketed medical supplies as they passed unoccupied countertops, snuck charts off the hospital room doors, and stole pens out of the lapels of unobservant physicians. By the time they reached the commissary, the pirates' pockets were full of scissors, band-aids, medical tape, and a few of them wore bedpans as hats. The commissary was a wide and colorful room. It had dozens of tables, hundreds of chairs, adjoining bathrooms, and a large, never-been-used kitchen. It was the perfect place for temporarily hosting Connor's characters. Ironically, the commissary had been decorated with the classic storybook theme. The walls were covered with murals of Alex and Connor's friends, and the support beams had been painted to look like book spines. Anticipating her children's return from the fairy tale world, Charlotte had cleared a space in the corner of the commissary and placed the Land of Stories book and Connor's binder of short stories on the floor. Once all the characters from Starboardia had been successfully escorted inside, the Emerald Storybook flipped open and a beam of light appeared. Red ran out of the beam like a bull released from a pen and looked around the commissary. She sighed with relief and stretched her arms out. Thank God I am indoors! Oh, hi, Red, Charlotte said. Long time no see. Without even making eye contact with the twins' mother or the Dalai Lama crew, Red ran to the window and yanked the blinds open. Rays of sunshine shined inside and Red blissfully spun in them. Daylight!
Red said, and then turned to the others. No one look at me for at least 20 minutes. I haven't seen the sun in weeks, and I'm paler than Snow White on a stomach flu day. Good to see you too, Red, Bob said under his breath. It wasn't long before the others from the fairy tale world joined her. Claudius ran out from the beam behind Red, and unlike his mother, the wolf was very social. He did an excited lap around the commissary and visited with every human that he saw. Jack and Goldilocks stepped out of the beam next, and Jack helped his pregnant wife to the closest seat. They were joined shortly afterward by Robin Hood, the Merry Men, Lester, the Tin Woodsman, Peter Pan, the Lost Boys, and Trollbella. Just like the characters from Starboardia did when they arrived on Sycamore Drive, the characters from the fairy tale world and classic literature stared in awe at the wondrous new world around them. Welcome to St. Andrew's Children's Hospital, Charlotte said. So this is the other world, Jack said and whistled at its sight. It's, colorful, Goldilocks said as she side-eyed the decorations. They certainly make reading a lifestyle over here. Before Bob and Charlotte could get to the complicated task of introducing the new characters to the old characters, Connor and Alex popped out of the beam of light beside them. Oh, cool. We're already at the hospital, Connor said and cleared his throat. Ladies and gentlemen, chickens and bliss worms from my stories, allow me to introduce you to the ladies and gentlemen, the goose, the wolf from classic literature and fairy tales. The introduction didn't go as well as the twins had hoped. The characters circled one another like animals meeting in the wild. Pirates! Peter shouted at the Dalai Lama's crew. Guys, knock it off, Alex said. We're all on the same side here. These people are going to help us defeat the literary army. Sorry, Peter said. For whatever reason, I'm always inclined to shout pirates whenever I see them. It's a bad habit. The rosary chicken fearfully laid an egg as soon as she saw Claudius, and he chased after her. The bliss worm didn't want to miss out on the fun, so it jumped on board the wolf and rode him around like a cowboy. Lester thought the bliss worm was the most delicious-looking worm that he had ever seen, so he chased after the others, forming a bizarre parade of fictional characters. Rule number 1, Connor said. No one is allowed to eat anyone else. The rosary chicken clucked with relief. Claudius and Lester stopped in their tracks and slumped. The bliss worm tugged on Claudius's collar. Connor didn't say the fun had to stop. It took the fairy tale characters a few moments to realize that the pictures of many of them were painted on the walls throughout the commissary. They walked to their respective murals and stared at the artwork worryingly. Hey, look, boys, we're on the wall, Peter said and pointed to a mural of them. Wait a moment. Is this place a church? Are we gods in this world? Don't flatter yourself, Connor said. People just like your story here. The Tin Woodsman found himself in a mural of the wonderful Wizard of Oz, but didn't recognize the 3 others he was traveling down the yellow brick road with. Who are those people I'm linked arm with? Who?
Who are those people I linked arms with? I'm linking arms with? What is it? Ah!
Who are the people I'm linking arms with? The Tin Woodsman asked. Well, that's Dorothy, that's the Scarecrow, and that's the Cowardly Lion, Alex explained. You would have met them in Oz if we hadn't found you first. Did they drop a barn on me as well? The Tin Woodsman asked. I don't remember, Alex lied. Robin Hood and the Merry Men gathered around the mural of Robin Hood. The resemblance between the real Merry Men and the painted Merry Men was striking. However, Robin Hood was depicted very effeminately in the painting. He wore bright green tights and had a short, curly bob with no facial hair. I don't understand, Robin Hood said. What is my mother doing in this painting? Trollbella stared up in awe at a beautiful mural of Cinderella in a ball gown. She smiled from ear to ear and clutched her hand over her heart. Oh, my traveling heavens, it looks just like me, she said. There are some very talented painters in the other world. That's funny. I like it. That's clever. She thinks she's Cinderella. Oh. I like it. I like it a lot.
I like it a lot.
Red let out an ear-splitting scream when she saw the mural of Little Red Riding Hood. The twins looked between the real Red and the painted Red, but they couldn't figure out what was so offensive. All they saw was an adorable girl in a red cape running from the big bad wolf. Red, What's the problem? Alex asked. They made me a brunette, Red yelled. The twins rolled their eyes, and Red turned back to the room and pouted as she continued soaking up the sun. That reminds me, Connor said. I need to go back to the Galaxy Queen and get the cyborgs. He went to his binder of short stories and flipped it open to the Galaxy Queen and vanished into the beam of light. As he went, Alex noticed that Goldilocks and Jack were whispering to each other, suspiciously glaring across the room. Is everything okay? Alex asked. Alex, my hormones are driving me mad, or do that man and woman look exactly like Jack and me? Goldilocks asked. Alex looked at Auburn, Sally, and Admiral Jacobson on the other side of the room. They were also whispering to each other and shooting peculiar glances at Jack and Goldilocks. Clearly, they were having the same conversation. Yeah, a lot of Connor's characters are based on people that he knows, Alex said, but trust me, it could be a lot worse than the Captain and the Admiral. As soon as she said this, the Cyborg Queen charged out of the Galaxy Queen beam of light. She ignored everyone in the commissary and rolled directly to the windows where Red stood. 2 large solar panels came out of her metal shoulders, and she pointed them directly toward the sun. Daylight! Thank goodness! The Cyborg Queen said. I haven't had a solar charge in weeks. The Cyborg Queen stretched her solar panels so far that she took up the entire window. Excuse me, Red said. You're blocking my light. Who says it's your light to begin with? The Cyborg Queen said. Red was appalled by her rudeness, so she left the window and took a seat by Jack and Goldilocks. I don't know who or what that woman is, but she's terrible, Red said. Goldilocks fought a smile and leaned closer to Alex. Oh, I see what you mean, she said. Connor and Commander Neuters hurried out from the Galaxy Queen beam and cleared a large area of the commissary, stacking chairs and tables on top of one another until there was a large open space. Connor, what's that for? Charlotte asked. The cyborgs, he said. Neuters removed a small remote from his belt and pointed it at the beam. 20 mechanized wagons carrying 50 cyborg soldiers each rolled out of the beam of light. The cyborgs were deactivated and were stacked on top of one another like folding chairs. Neuter steered the wagons onto the cleared area and parked them. Is that, humane? Bob said with wide eyes. Probably not, Neuters admitted. But if we keep them deactivated until battle, we save a fortune on our electric bill. The characters settled into groups throughout the commissary like high school cliques. The people of each dimension had their own set of tables and cautiously eyed the others from afar. Will they be okay? Charlotte asked. They'll warm up to one another, Connor said, and then whistled to get the room's attention. Yeah, go ahead. We're going to smoothie dance, guys. It's time for a smoothie dance with the cyborg. Shake, 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 or more? Oh, great. They'll warm up to each other, Connor said, and then whistled to get the room's attention. Hey, everybody, listen up. Alex and I have to head into my next story to recruit more characters. Everyone, please be nice to one another while we're gone. Mom and Bob are in charge unless they're at work, and then Jack and Goldilocks are in charge. The characters from Starboardia, Galaxy Queen, and the Land of Stories, Sherwood Forest, Neverland, and Oz all nodded respectfully, and then quickly returned to watching one another apprehensively. Alex and Connor hugged Charlotte and Bob and went to the binder of stories. Connor flipped it open to his next story and poured 3 drops of the portal potion onto the pages. Connor stepped toward the beam of light that appeared, but Alex stopped him before he entered it. Hold on a second, she said. You're supposed to tell me what to expect at the next stop. Don't spare any details this time. If there are bug guts, I want to be prepared. The next story is called The Ziblings, Connor explained. It's about 4 kids with superhuman powers. They all lost their parents at an early age and went to live at the same orphanage. One night, an asteroid carrying cosmic radiation hit their orphanage and affected their DNA, giving them phenomenal abilities. They were adopted by a billionaire astrophysicist named Professor Wallet. And Professor Wallet? That's funny. It's like Daddy Warbucks, but Professor Wallet. That's funny. And taken to his laboratory where he raised them and trained them to become superheroes. Professor Wallet, Alex asked. Yeah, I lost my wallet the day that I wrote it, and I thought it was a good name, Connor said. Moving on, we're going to travel to their city and meet them at the scene of a bank robbery. While they're saving the bank, we'll sneak inside the Zibling mobile and follow them back to their secret laboratory and ask them to join us. Will they cooperate? Alex asked. The Ziblings are very competitive siblings, Connor said. They'll never pass up a challenge, especially if there's an opportunity to outshine one another. Okay, Alex said with a nod. Sounds super. Leave the jokes to me, Connor said. The twins stepped into the beam of light and disappeared from St. Andrew's Children's Hospital. Connor's handwriting wiggled and zoomed throughout the air as the world of the Ziblings was created around him and his sister. The word highway stretched beneath their feet, and Alex and Connor were suddenly standing in the middle of a wide country road. Cars and large trucks honked and swerved at them, and they dashed to the side of the highway to avoid getting hit. Alex and Connor looked up and saw the large city limits sign above them. The sign read, Big City, USA, population 7,654,321. Once the handwriting, Whoa, pretty color. Why are you looking at me suspiciously?
No, I want to see if you like it.
Yummy, still peanut buttery.
Mm-hmm.
Yummy. Is it just carrots and peanut butter?
No, it's avocado, banana, carrot, peanut butter, and
Whoa, cuties!
cuties.
Once the handwritten words were finished constructing the new dimension, the twins saw that the highway led to an enormous city a couple miles in the distance. It had the tallest and leanest skyscrapers Alex had ever seen. The skylines looked more like a bunch of pencils and pens than a row of buildings. Big City, USA? Alex asked. You couldn't come up with anything more original than that? It was supposed to be a placeholder until I came up with a better name, but Big City, USA grew on me, Connor said. Now let's get to the bank before it gets robbed without us. Alex laughed. Now that's something that I've never heard before. The twins walked down the road and entered the busy city. The world of the Ziblings was like a highly exaggerated version of the other world. The buildings were more colorful, the streets were cleaner, and the cars were shinier. Even the people were more extravagant. The men were taller and broader shouldered and wider jaws. The women had impeccable hair, makeup, and clothing, and even the children were cuter and better behaved. It was like the twins had entered a 1950s cartoon. Alex and Connor zigzagged through the city streets. They walked down the main street and made a right at Center Road, and then a left on First Avenue. Alex wasn't sure which city Connor was emulating for the Ziblings setting because Big City, USA had characteristics of every American city she could think of. There were subway stations like in New York City, bridges like in San Francisco, surrounding Great Lakes like in Chicago, and Big City, USA was written in the hillside like the Hollywood sign. They eventually found Big City Bank in the middle of First Avenue. It was a large white building with thick pillars and a massive dome. It reminded Alex of the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. The twins walked up to the front steps and went inside. The bank had marble floors, golden pillars, and wooden counters. There were high ceilings, tall windows, and lots of elaborate lighting structures. A long line of big city citizens waited patiently to be helped by one of a dozen bank tellers. There were also desks scattered throughout the bank where the bankers helped other citizens open new accounts and apply for loans. No one appeared to have been rejected because all the applicants had big smiles on their faces and they happily shook the bankers' hands. Connor took his sister to the far end of the bank near the back door. He got down on the floor, laid face down, and put his hands over his head. Are you doing yoga? Alex asked. No, I'm getting ready, he said. We're just in time. For what? The robbery, he said as if it were obvious. It should be starting in 5, 4, 3, 2. Five armed robbers stormed into the bank. They wore all black and had mouse ears and whiskers attached to their masks. The robbers fired guns into the air to get everyone's attention. It was startling, even to Alex, and she'd known it was coming. Everyone get on the ground now, the largest robber shouted. Face down with your hands on your head. No talking! Don't make me tell you twice. The citizens screamed and did what they were told. Alex joined her brother on the floor and copied his pose. The robbers threw big duffel bags onto the wooden counters and pointed their guns at the tellers. Empty the safe, the largest robber shouted. And don't you dare try any funny business or I'll blow you into the sky. The trembling tellers did what the robbers demanded. They opened the gigantic safe in the back of the bank and began filling the duffel bags with stacks of cash and bars of gold. What's up with the ears and the whiskers on the masks? Alec whispered to her brother. It's part of their gimmick, she said. These guys are called the Rat Pack. They're the most infamous bank robbers in big city USA. The tallest one's name is Frank. He's the leader. And there's his henchmen, Sammy, Dean, Joey, and Peter. Just like the Rat Pack from the 60s, Alex said. Connor scrunched up his forehead. Dang it, he said. I thought I made it up. I must have heard it from someone. Yeah, you two! No talking! Frank yelled, pointing his gun at the twins. Alex and Connor went silent. The Rat Pack walked around the bank patrolling their hostages. They nudged the terrifying citizens with their feet and laughed wildly as the hostages cowered and squirmed. After a few minutes of lying uncomfortably on the floor and watching the robbers torment the men and women, Alex was very eager to see the Ziblings come to the rescue. It was taking all her self-control not to transform the Rat Pack into actual rodents. Connor tapped his sister and gestured to one of the windows. Alex looked up and saw the silhouette of a man wearing a cape. He stood heroically with his hands on his hips. Alex was so excited to see a real superhero that her stomach filled with butterflies, but the feeling quickly subsided. It took a moment for the superhero to enter the bank, and not because he was conducting a plan, but because he couldn't open the window. Finally, with a strong tug, the hero managed to pry it open. He crawled through the small opening, but then he stepped on his cape and he slipped off the windowsill. He crashed onto the floor behind the desk with a very loud thump. Everyone in the bank heard the crash and jerked their heads towards it. The Rat Pack clutched their guns tighter and slowly approached the desk. The hostages waited on pins and needles, hoping that someone had come to their rescue. The superhero jumped out from behind the desk and struck the same heroic pose that he had held in the window. After a closer look, Alex was surprised to see that he was actually an adorable boy, no more than 12 years old. He wore a sky blue suit and a dark blue mask with matching gloves, boot, and cape. He had messy dark hair, plump cheeks, and green eyes. Upon seeing him, the robbers snickered, and the hostages all lost hope. Apparently, no one had much faith in the hero's capabilities. Don't worry about it, boys. It's just Bolt, Frank laughed. The Ziblings have sent the runt of the litter. Bolt shifted uncomfortably at the blatant disrespect. Hello, Rat Pack, the boy said in a tone obviously deeper than his real voice. I see you've escaped prison and gone right back to your old tricks. I guess you could take the rats out of the garbage, but you can't take the garbage out of the rats. But you can't take the garbage out of the rats, Frank mocked him. You really need to work on your playful jargon if you want to be taken seriously. And you need to work on following the law, Bolt said. Good thing there are people like me to put you back in your place. Frank turned to his henchman. Get him, he said. But don't waste your bullets. He isn't worth it. The boy's face turned bright red. Oh, yes, I am, he argued. I'm worth all the bullets you've got. Bolt became angry and his superpowers were activated. His body was covered in static electricity. His messy hair rose above his head. His tiny electric waves buzzed around his fingertips. Bolt somersaulted towards Frank, and with the lightest touch of his index finger, he zapped the robber on the leg. Ouch, Frank said. That almost hurt a little. The boy cartwheeled to Sammy and Dean and shocked them on the arms. He dived to the other side of the bank and zapped Zoe on the nose and Peter on the ear. Bolt was very proud of himself, but his efforts did little to wound the Rat Pack. They just looked more irritated than before. I changed my mind. Shoot him, Frank instructed. Bolt flew through the air to avoid the bullet, not with the grace of an eagle or a hawk, but with the clumsiness of a baby bird. His erratic flight pattern made it very difficult for the Rat Pack to aim their guns at him, so they flipped their weapons over and swung at him like baseball bats. Frank knocked the Bolt out of the air, and the not-so-superhero hit the floor. Tie him up, Frank ordered, and eyed the hostages. And for the rest of you, show's over. Back to work. The Rat Pack tied Bolt to the chair, and the tellers continued emptying the vault. Eventually, the vault was cleared entirely, and the duffel bags were bulging with cash and gold. The tellers handed the bags to the Rat Pack, and the robbers headed for the door. Bolt tried to free himself from the restraints, but they were too strong. This transaction has been a pleasure, Frank announced to the bank. See you next time. Suddenly, a thunderous crash came from above. 3 more superheroes dropped in from the domed ceiling. The rest of the Ziblings had arrived. The oldest sibling was about 16 and very athletic. He wore a bright yellow tank top, baggy yellow pants, big sneakers, and a headband. His muscly arms were bare and caught fire as soon as he touched the ground. The second oldest sibling was a 15-year-old girl. She wore a pink suit with a built-in miniskirt. She had sandy blonde hair that was braided into 2 long pigtails. She had complete control over her hair and twirled her braids like blades of a helicopter until she came to a safe landing. The third oldest sibling wore a dark green suit and a leather jacket. Instead of a mask, he wore very dark sunglasses. His arms transformed into feathered wings as he glided to the floor and then transformed back once he landed. All the citizens, tellers, and bankers sighed with relief at the older siblings' arrival. The Rat Pack robbers simultaneously gulped and eyed one another nervously. Bolt rolled his eyes at his siblings' splashy entrance. He had been hoping to handle the Rat Pack without them. "Hello, Frank, Sammy, Dean, Joey, and Peter," the oldest said, acting as the siblings' leader. "Have you come out of the sewer for fresh air?" "Hello, Blaze, Whitney, and Morph," Frank said. "Have you come to save your little brother?" "I don't need to be saved," Bolt said. "Being tied to this chair is part of my plan, which you guys are kind of ruining." The siblings ignored their little brother as if he weren't even in the room. They locked eyes with the Rat Pack and never looked away. "We've come to take you and your boys back to prison, Frank," Blaze said. "You belong in a cage, just like all the other rodents." The siblings charged toward the Rat Pack and the robbers ran for the door. Morph jumped in front of them and transformed into a brick wall. His sunglasses were his only remaining physical trait. He was now blocking the robbers' exit, and so they ran for the back door. Whitney whipped her head back and forth, and her braids wrapped around Sammy and Dean's ankles. She raised them into the air and knocked them into each other until they fell unconsciously to the ground. Joey and Peter aimed their guns at Blaze, but he pointed at them, and 2 fiery geysers blasted out of his fingertips. The robbers were set on fire, and they dropped to the floor and rolled around to extinguish the flames. Morph transformed into a huge cage, and Whitney scooped up Dean, Sammy, Joey, and Peter with her hair and threw the robbers inside it. They had caught all the rats in the Rat Pack except for one. Frank jumped over the wooden counter and ran to the back of the bank. He jumped inside the vault and locked the enormous metal door behind him. Blaze followed him and pressed his palms against the vault door. He heated the vault so much that the door turned bright orange and melted away. Whitney reached into the vault with her hair and pulled Frank out and tossed him into the cage with the others. The bank hostages leapt to their feet in celebration. They cheered and applauded their rescue. Everyone was thrilled the siblings had saved another day in Big City, USA. Everyone but Bolt. "You're in so much trouble," Blaze told his little brother. "Why?" Bolt said. "I had everything under control before you guys showed up." "You know the rules," Whitney said. "No crime fighting until your homework is done, and Dad doesn't want you going without us." "I can take care of myself," Bolt said. "I can do anything you guys can do. You just never give me the chance. You never let me prove myself." "Prove yourself?" said the cage Morph had turned into. "You can't even get out of that chair." "How are you supposed to help people if you can't even help yourself?" Whitney said. Tears came to Bolt's eyes, and he looked away from his siblings. It was an expression layered with embarrassment, frustration, self-doubt, and heartache all in one. Alex knew that look. She could have sworn she'd seen it somewhere else before. Suddenly, memory surfaced like a movie playing in her mind, and Alex flashed back to when she and Connor were in elementary school. "Let's go around the room and say what we all want to be when we grow up," their second-grade teacher had told the class. "A doctor," a boy said. "A senator," said a girl. "Teacher," Alex remembered saying. Her brother sat up in his desk excitedly to share his answer. "A fireman," he said. "I want to help people." Even then, Connor wasn't as good a student as Alex was. He had trouble learning to read, how to spell, and how to do math. He was always asking Alex for help with his homework, and she became mad that he couldn't keep up with her. So when Connor gave his answer about his plans for the future, Alex was inclined to respond, "A fireman?" she asked. "How are you supposed to help people if you can't even help yourself?" Everyone in the class laughed. Alex didn't mean any harm by it. She was so young it just slipped out of her mouth. Even though it had happened almost 10 years before, the expression on Connor's face had been engraved in her memory forever. It was exactly how Bolt looked at his siblings now. Soon, the front steps of the bank were filled with police and reporters. Morph transformed back into his human form, and he, Whitney, and Blaze pushed the Rat Pack robbers outside and onto the hands of the police. The siblings spoke with the reporters about what had happened. They took all the credit and soaked up all the attention, leaving Bolt tied to the chair inside. Now's a good time to sneak into the sibling mobile, Connor whispered to Alex. The twins exited the big city bank through the back door, and Alex followed Connor into the alleyway behind it. The sibling mobile was bright red convertible with rocket engines and a bright yellow Z painted on the side. The car was parked out of sight between two dumpsters, but Connor knew exactly where to find it. He felt around the back tire and pulled a spare key out of the hidden compartment. He opened the trunk and crawled inside it. "Come on," he said, and he offered his sister a hand. Alex hesitated before joining him. Something heavy was weighing on her heart. "Hey, quick question," she said. "Is this story based on anything that happened in real life? Anything that might have happened between us?" Connor thought about it, but shook his head. "No, this one's completely made up," he said. "I just loved superheroes when I was a kid, and The Siblings is one of the first stories I ever wrote." Alex didn't press the issue further. She just nodded and climbed into the trunk with him. Connor may have forgotten what happened in second grade, but Alex couldn't shake it. It wasn't just the mean exchange in elementary school that bothered her, though. Alex was worried that The Siblings was much closer to home than Connor realized, and she might be the story's villain. Dun, dun, dun! Oh, sad. Poor Connor. Can we get smoothie contents? Yeah, we can always get smoothie contents. All right, so that is all for today. But, well, for this morning, we are, you've grown attached to Connor? Yes. We are doing a slime live tonight. If you are on Patreon and you are still owed a roll for slime or custom and you would like yours to be done live, there's a sign up for that right now, and I will do that. And the hiccups, which is super fun, and it's kind of the whole kit and caboodle. I will see you all later for, do you have time for a slime question? Sure, Sammy, what's up? What's shaking, bacon? You too, Ray. You too. I got a Franken slime and it's rubbery. It's probably from the cold. Did you just get it in the mail or did it get rubbery? Cheer breaks mean I get to go to Slime Lives again. Yay! Ooh, that is exciting, Rosie. I love that phrase, what's shaking, bacon? You know what? It's weird though because bacon doesn't really shake. It's pink and I wouldn't be able to know what the slime was because all the Franken slimes are made on the fly. So that won't help, unfortunately. No. Did you just get it in the mail or have you already had time to play with it? Which one? Because a lot of people's slimes have been arriving frozen and they just need time to like really thoroughly thaw. I got it yesterday. Yeah, I would let it sit for at least a day, if not a little bit more. I don't know if you had a chance to look at the chat at all, but some people's were so frozen when they got them, they could hold them upside down and they wouldn't even come out of the container. It's just cold in a lot of places. Clear glue to fix Bingsu slime this month. Yes, if it's getting too dry for you, yes, then clear glue, absolutely. Or clear base, whichever you have, totally works, yes. Bingsu slimes dry out when you play with them a lot because they have less base in them than others, and then you just have to replenish it. I saw the photo of the green one. I know, it was funny, right? It was so wild. I was like, oh my gosh, I've literally never seen that happen. I love it so much and play with it so much. Yeah, it's totally revivable. All Bingsus are totally revivable, Tiffany. That's not a problem. I was, if I have time and supplies for Patreon people, I will have like little mini clear slimes available to like revive old slimes and stuff like that. So it just depends on if I have time to make some clear before the restock. I'm gonna try. I just need to get more clear glue, and then it'll just be like little mini bases that people can add in little bits to their old slimes, which is good. So that's it. And I'm gonna roll out as we're gonna check. Roll it out. I will be having a post soon about the Q&A live and all that jazz. So I will see you all later. Bye, guys.